It's May. When did that happen? This is the April update for King's Pride. We've been working too much and time is slipping away from us, but May is going to be a great month. So we have the Anacortes Boat and Yacht Show partnered up with Trawlerfest this month. And so after 2 years of working on King's Pride with all of our students and using it for these authentic learning opportunities, it's time to open it up to the public. So during that show, which runs 17 through 21, we're going to have the 19th, 20th, 21st, a Thursday, Friday, Saturday open boat where you can come to Marine Tech if you haven't seen our facility, check out the boat, our progress on King's Pride. Maybe you're interested in purchasing her as a project boat. That's will be all laid out in videos coming this month. And exciting times for us. We're in the middle of plumbing class. They're doing a bunch of work. Electrical 3 students, we're getting a lot of the electrical work done. Mechanical's basically done with the engine and steering and so on and so forth. We're gonna put some bottom paint on it, splash it in the ocean. So sit back, enjoy all of the updates that we did during April, and stay tuned in May. Go to the cruiserscollege.org site if you want information about coming to Anacortes and seeing this very cool refit project.
Welcome to the Scallywags, located in the beautiful Pacific Northwest, where Skagit Valley College has been training technicians since 1968. If you are looking for industry certification and the skills to work in maritime, this is the place to visit. Our staff will share so much knowledge and experience, you will not be disappointed. The workforce demand is very high and all of our graduates are working around the world. If this sounds interesting to you, schedule a tour and come check us out.
Okay, as we're planning and moving things around here, in the galley, the AC panel used to be out here, kind of flush, and there was a lot of kind of dead space underneath. And so in the spirit of trying to open things up and give the new owner flexibility, we moved over where you saw Tut put the AC panel above the DC wall back over by the nav area, which makes sense, but the hull inlet is right behind here. And so we put our double breaker here. It'll go right into the isolation transformer. We've put our new propane sniffer and control right here. And we can envision maybe either leaving this open or a shelf, trim this out a little bit. Anyways, and it could be moved back out to the original position if the new owner so desires, but that's coming together, so we'll finish that wiring and the propane system up in May.
As we get ready to take off the tarp for the final time, we got to get this boat weather tight. One of those jobs was to mount the new display for the wind instrument on top of the mast and our new depth and speed transducers. So this Garmin unit was slightly smaller than the hole, of course, so we built a nice little plastic bezel to go around it to do a nice install. But as you know, in the marine world, here it is, every 20-minute job can start to take 2 hours when you break off a couple of screws. So we pre-drilled, thought we had it, but no. So what do? You just plow through and there it is, it's all installed, looks great, and ready to go sailing.
So the wind instrument wiring just came out and went right down inside of the boat. But there's a little gap in here, and we think the NEMA 2000 cable will come in and run right behind here, be out of sight. So when we made the little bracket for the little backer for the top to make it fit, we cut another one just like so to cover up that hole and to still give us access. So, pretty good little setup, I think. Should do the trick. Shy students are behind the camera here. Somebody's got to do it. What we're doing is this little panel goes above the disc wall. So when you come down the companionway, we have all of our bilge pump switches. It's DC switches. On this side, we're going to have the AC distribution panel, and it'll be able to open it so we can access all this wiring. So we're going to use this original teak door. We're going to cut the slats out round around the edge nice and neat. Put a recess on the back to put a piece of wood in because the panel fits, but there'll be a little extra real estate. So we're going to make that look nice, get this installed so that as we bring the AC out of our multi-plus, we got a place to land it so that we can start doing our branch circuits.
Okay. Hi, my name is Tut, and I'm working on the AC distribution panel here. Below here we have the DC distribution, and here it was an old teak door that we had to cut off the lues to run the wiring through. And next we're going to put terminal strips behind here.
Okay, above the disc wall here, we're going to wire our AC that Tut put in yesterday. Decided we're going to put some terminal strips up in here where it's kind of a dead space. And then we're going to pre-wire this, and we'll be able to lay all the AC wiring out at one time, and should simplify the installation, get the AC hooked up, and that will leave some nice real estate in here for our DC panel, our exhaust temperature, high bilge water, and our 2 bilge pump switches. So it's going to be nice access. Could be a great little spot to get some wiring done in the month of May. Okay, down by the mast base here, the settee, this little space is almost done. We've got the N2K ends here for our NEMA bus with our terminating resistor, although this is a spare cable that runs up the mast. So if anybody needed to in the future, if they change out the wind instrument, so this Garmin unit we have does our wind speed direction and everything, and it gets hooked to this little cable. That's the last step here. We got a field installed in, and this is all done. But if you need to upgrade in the future, we've got a couple of open ports, and you could easily extend and make the backbone go all the way to the top of the mast. We have all of our spreader lights, navigation lights, and everything, and our washdown pump all hooked in here through these wires in this little chaseway. So this area is just coming together really nicely, and it's ready for the next stage, which is going to be some plumbing during the month of May.
Underneath the engine here in the little galley sink compartment, engine access, we've got the new sea strainer mounted there below the alternator. You can see the great access to that raw water pump, but it's a 1-inch hose that goes over and drops down. And then we've got an existing 1.5 inch through hull that we use, so we just necked it down there. And that hose comes from just after the engine, so it'll run right down the engine stringer there and pop up into the sea basket. Easy to clean, easy to service. We love it.
So now that the wiring is basically complete and the NEMA backbone in this space, we're still working it through. The ultimate goal for us, there's a water tank forward, I think it's 50 gallons, but we're envisioning where Bob Perry put a couple of water tanks. For sure one here, that might just be our normal tank, it'd hold like 30 gallons. But we're starting to source out the rest of the plumbing, because this quarter is when we do plumbing. So May is going to have a lot of plumbing coming along. And we mocked up an IsoTemp hot water heater, 4.3 gallons I think it is. Nice little round unit. And this is where it's going to live, right down underneath the settee, because we can run our PEX through the side of the boat, which will feed the head for the sink and the shower. It will service, the hot water will be introduced here, and our water pump. It'll run up the side of the boat. It'll hit the galley for hot and cold water for the galley sink, and it'll extend aft for a cockpit shower. This boat didn't have one, but we'd like to put one in. So our friends at Dreama, who've helped us out a lot, showed us one of these new Jabsco pumps and accumulator combos. It's a double pump, probably excessive for this boat. What I like is redundancy. Always one of those is going to keep going, and it's got an accumulator, and this thing fits in here just perfectly right next to the hot water heater. And so it looks like this will just be really nice to lay in our red and blue hot and cold PEX, tie into the pump and the hot water, and spread the potable water out through the boat. So that's exciting. In here we got the head compartment put back together mostly. We've got the new toilet installed. We've got the seawater to it. We got the black water discharge. We've got a vented loop which is up behind the cabinet here.
We've got our T-Series discharge pump that goes out, and the vent is installed. So we got to do the electrical in here, but everything's painted out and ready to go. The crew's been cleaning things out where we got our new seat, but in here underneath the bunk we have installed a new washdown pump. So this boat never came with a washdown system, but we've added a pump. It comes off from a through hole in the head up to this pump, and then we'll run the line above the water tank and up through the chain locker, and it'll be super nice to have a saltwater washdown system. Improvements for the new cruising vessel. Great. We were just up on the boat showing you where this AC panel was going to go, and it fits in and out of its new door position, because what I've done is I've used some 14 gauge solid core wire just to get the path, and next week we're going to have students just pre-wire all of this AC stuff. So we'll bring the main from the multi-plus right into here, follow the path and land it on our AC panel. We'll bring all of our branch circuits to this bus bar. All of our hot and neutrals here will tie everything down. We know how long each of these circuits needs to be. There's a handful of AC circuits, your port and starboard outlets, your hot water heater, dedicated outlet for the, in case you want to plug in an electric heater, things like this. So we will just label, pre-wire this whole assembly, and then up in that cabinet where it's kind of tight but it's dead space, it's perfect for this. We'll have everything labeled, land it, and then we'll run the cables out through the boat and do the final terminations at the other end. So excited, pretty stoked about this. We also have the Seawater System basically done. We've got a mount, we got the sea basket, we've got an 1.5 inch intaked neck down because it's a 1-inch sea basket. It goes into the Yanmar, perfect access to the pump. That system's looking good. So we'll finish the AC in May, we will finish the seawater, and then we got to get the fuel hooked up. So this was just a mock-up on an old piece of plywood, but this is going to work great. We might space it out just a little bit. We've got a 3-way valve. We're going to have a T so that our fuel comes from the main tank and comes in normally through the rate core into the Yanmar. But if you need to fill this up after doing a fuel filter service and you want to get the air out, you're going to be able to turn this 3-way valve, and then we'll use the electric pump. And so this electric pump will then take fuel from the main tank and fill the rate core up, get the air out. So changing the fuel filter is going to be super easy. We've got the clean tank, the stripping port, like perfect fuel system for King's Pride. May is going to be amazing. We're going to light that engine off, listen to it run.
So this is another example, 20-minute job, turns into 2 or 3 plus hours. We were taking the old 14.2 out of the bow pulpit from the chain locker to put in for the new navigation lights. And we're putting in 18.2 because they're LEDs, much smaller. We're using lube and everything we can. We tried from bottom up and top down, and it was a challenge. But we have all new wiring for the navigation lights now. Back in the lazarette, Art was working hard on getting fuel to the engine, but with our cleaned and refurbished tanks, the first thing I do is get fuel into them. So we started mocking up all our new fuel fills and fuel vents, and This, of course, is just rough because we're waiting on P-clamps and supplies are hard to get, and there's our water lift muffler. But we got the fuel system coming together, and it's looking good.
Okay, fun Fridays. Students are off doing their thing. Staff is working, trying to keep ahead of them. They're doing great electrical and plumbing work this quarter. But every now and then there's a few of these jobs that we just don't have manpower for. So us staffers try to take care of it. So where the engine box and the sink goes, that's hinged, underneath there we needed a little bit better support to go in between the two stringers. Just didn't like it the way it was, wasn't strong enough. So using the tech tip and the right there, hot glue gun, I made a pattern. Easy, came together pretty quickly. I transferred it onto some nice 3/4 inch marine plywood. This cutout is where the bilge section is. So this is gonna be nice and strong. We're gonna put some hardwood cleats on both sides to fasten into, and this is just gonna make that whole front engine galley floor super strong. So mix up a little epoxy, put it on, let it cure over the weekend. Next week we'll get this thing installed. As you can see, we'll call that a wrap for April. We got a lot done, but we still have a mountain of work to do in May. It's all right. We like hanging out on boats. It's starting to feel more like a boat. We actually brought up some upholstery just to see where it would go, and talking to Jennifer, I think she still has one of the cushions. We're getting the table varnished and fun things like that. So thanks for watching all these videos and us putting it together, and hopefully come to the Anacortes Boat Show, you'll want to come take a tour and see all the work that we've done on King's Pride. Thanks for watching.